How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Wish stock. Many are saying, hey, we need to get an update. So, of course, we know it did pull back quite a bit when it came out with its earnings, but we're going to talk about that a little bit more inside this video. So, before we get started, of course, we're going to be jumping into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you are a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to be going over is a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance, and as far as the right setup for our game plan and as well as a strategy. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and as well as the short interest information. This is key because it will have an impact in the way the stock actually performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. Are institutions loading up on the dip for Wish? We're about to find out. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more key details. So we're going to be doing a technical analysis for Wish. Let's see how it performed on the day. So ended up closing at $6.95, being up 1.16%. On the low, it tested $6.57, and then on the high, tested $7.31. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, we traded at 51.817 million shares, and for the average volume over 10 trading days being at 57.518 million shares. So it was great to see, even though we had a little bit below average volume, we still saw some strength in Wish today. Now, when we take a look at the RSI down below, it is deep, and I mean deep, in the oversold territory, being here right around 21.96. So as far as how Wish chart is looking, many are saying, hey, it's pretty much at the bottom. Many people who are inside of the Discord, and also a lot of the questions I've been getting, if you're able to actually load upon some shares under $7, there's definitely some opportunities here if you're looking for short-term swings. But what I want to see from Wish, though, is $7 going to be that area of support going from now and forward. I feel this is very key here because if we can have some strength holding up at $7, of course I want to see that move going all the way to $8 and reclaiming the 21-day EMA. I feel if we could do that, we could definitely look forward to seeing some momentum. But if it does decide to pull back like you saw today, got down to $6.57. So in these particular areas, hey, it's not too bad to actually add some shares of Wish if you believe in the long-term prospects here. I myself, I do not have any shares of Wish for the long term, but if I wanted to play this, then I'll be playing swings anytime it goes into the mid sixes and then take some profits when it gets up into the sevens. And then of course, I know many are talking about the run up and so forth, but first, let's get to this 21-day EMA at $8 first and build up some consolidation and some support before we start saying, well, you know what, it's going to be running up to 10, 11 and so forth. I want to be realistic here, but one thing that is very clear, this $8 level is going to be a psychological area, and I do know if we end up getting to this particular area, there could be a lot more buying pressure and volume coming into the stock, but if it doesn't, it will continue to trade below that in that range like I was talking about within the $7. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and as well as the short interest information for Wish. So as we scroll down on the page, green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So we can see here on the 17th, not much activity whatsoever, but we can see for the 16th, there were a lot of filings that were made, and a lot of them are also significant as well. So we can see here, Adam Investors LP that went in with just over 134K shares, so fairly bullish right there. And then we have some other institutions like Veritin as well as Ad Schuler going in with 11K and just over 32K as well. We also have Sante Capital Fund that went in with just over 41K shares. So there's definitely some bullish activity amongst institutions. Even Hidden Lake Asset Management went in with just over 451K shares. So we do have some closed positions, of course, but do keep in mind institutions are still loading up on Wish stock. Now, when we take a look at the short interest information, we scroll down on the page. The short shares availability is at 8.2 million, updated 25 minutes ago. And as far as for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 0.86%. Now, taking a look at the history of the short volume ratio, you can see for August the 16th, which was a close yesterday, it was at 55.29, and on the 13th last week, it was as high as 48.38. So it has gone up quite a bit, so it's going to be very interesting to see what the numbers will be later on in the evening. But one thing that we do know for sure, institutions have been loading up on shares, and secondly, there is short squeeze potential in Wish stock. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Wish. So we can see here on the inflow, it's at 77.82. And then on the outflow, it's at 69.58. So we ended up having an inflow day. So on the large, we had 2.32. Keep in mind, this is in the millions. And on the medium, we had 54.75. And then on the small, we had 20.75. When we take a look at the outflow side, we had 0 on the large. We had 50.03 on the medium. And on the small, we had 19.55. When we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see we had some big inflow days in regards to the 13th being at 3,426.07, which was on the Friday. But we could see here for today on August the 17th being at 2,323.42. On the 16th, it was at an outflow day being at 599.82. On the 12th, it was 0. And then on the 11th, it was at 774.4. So we take a look at the last 5 days, inflows have been beating out the outflows in regards to large scale orders. So institutions have been loading up on the dip. I know many of you are excited to actually hear that, because as we know, institutions are not going to be loading up on shares if they don't see a potential return on their investment. So now let's jump into the final thoughts. So for my final thoughts for Wish, there's a few things that I want to go over. So when we went on Fintel, we could see institutions have been loading up on shares, which is great to see from the filings. And then secondly, as far as for the short interest information, it still continues to have short squeeze potential. I know many of you will be excited to actually hear that. We can't wait to actually see what the numbers will be later on in the evening as well. Now, when we took a look at the order flow distribution, institutions were loading up on Wish shares. They have been loading up on the dip. There's many advantages that you can have, especially if you have the right strategy. We already seen the range that it has been trading in from doing the technical analysis. So if you're looking for short-term profits, it is definitely there. And for anyone that wants to hold Wish for the long term, and if you have a high cost average, then you have an opportunity to actually average down. But make sure you have high conviction. Do your homework, do your due diligence if you believe in the long-term prospects before doing this. I want to make sure I really emphasize this. I also want to talk about the market shift. We're seeing a lot of money coming out of the small and as well as the medium cap growth stocks. A lot of it is going into big tech and as well as companies that are putting out great earnings. So this is something to understand. It's just a rotation. We're going to have a rotation coming back into the medium and small cap stocks. But in the meantime, these are the opportunities to take advantage of buying the growth stocks that you really like for the long term. Or if you're looking for a swing trade opportunity, it is definitely there. But like I said, just make sure you do homework, you do due diligence on all of the plays that you decide to get into. But I just wanted to bring that across to you guys so you're aware of that. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.